I would like to introduce first speaker of the evening, Ms. Jane Gordon, representing CS Global Partners. Jane is qualified PR executive with 15 plus years experience working in agencies and corporates across the UK and South Africa. She is currently the PR and communications executive at CS Global Partners, where she promotes citizenship by investment programs to citizens across the world. A South African herself, Jane is passionate about promoting solutions to South African market that meet their specific need. Hello, Jane. How are you doing today?
Hi, Abdul. Thank you so much for the introduction. I am very well. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. We are definitely looking forward to what you have to share with us today.
Right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Great.
Fantastic. So to start off, yes, just saying a welcome and a hello, and thinking of you all who are based in South Africa, particularly in light of the third wave we're finding ourselves in. I hope everybody is keeping safe. So it's a great privilege to be speaking to you tonight. And what specifically I'm going to be talking about is looking at South Africans and why second citizenship is needed as an insurance policy. So to really unpack why we need to be investing in an option that we could potentially use in the future and really using it as an insurance for our family or for ourselves. To kind of launch it and set it off, looking at dual citizenship, I'm sure most of us are no stranger to this, and it's not uncommon in South Africa for many to hold the second citizenship. A lot of African countries do handle second citizenships differently, whether they allow it or not. There are different legal processes, but in South Africa, it's perfectly legal to hold a second citizenship. You just need to follow these correct steps to make sure that you are retaining your South African citizenship, but it is perfectly legal to hold too. And in South Africa, many second citizenships are acquired often as a result of ancestry, often being passed down, particularly from parents potentially who are born in European countries such as the UK. And that's quite a common route that many of us have available to us. But really looking at what dual citizenship provides you with, and simply put, we are really showcasing that it is giving you options, it is giving you and your family options, it's an insurance policy should you wish to use it. Why do South Africans need a second citizenship? As I've said, I myself am a South African, so I am fully aware of the pain points that we feel in this country, and I've highlighted some of the driving factors that we've seen as being key points. The first being high crime rates. Sadly, as a country, we do have high crime rates, particularly violent crime, and that's often a driving factor for many. Government instability, regardless of your political alignments, there is not the most stable government in place. There is some corruption, and that is of concern. Load shedding, I think, none of us based in South Africa are strangers to the stress that load shedding has provided us. For those who are not based in South Africa, essentially our electricity providers have to shut us down for hours at a time in order to preserve our electricity. And it's really as a result of a lack of proper infrastructure in place. And I think as business people, it's particularly frustrating and quite damaging to business, as we are told with quite short notice that we will not be having electricity, sometimes for 4 hours at a time. Water restrictions. As a country, we've gone through many droughts, and whilst obviously we cannot control the weather, again, it points to a lack of infrastructure in place to help accommodate when these things happen. The weak rand, sadly, the rand is not a strong currency, it being put into junk status last year. It's of a great concern that our currency does not hold up that strongly. The proposed wealth tax, that coming into play, not quite sure what it will look like as yet, but it is making South Africans fairly nervous. And I think particularly high net worth individuals are looking to where they can diversify their wealth, to where they can maybe look into investing overseas. The need for visas when traveling. I think most South Africans are no strangers to having to apply for visas when traveling to most countries, and the length of process that this can take, sometimes being denied the visa for no reason, and the money that it takes often to pay for these visas. And then lastly, the slow COVID-19 vaccination rollout. I think we really have to address this. I think it is making many South Africans nervous. We find ourselves in the midst of this third wave. And I'm sure many of you watched the president's speech on Sunday, where he said 2.7 million, I think it was, had been vaccinated. But out of a population of nearly 60 million, it simply isn't good enough. And I think it's causing a lot of concern for South Africans. Now, as I said, as a South African myself, I think most of us are incredibly proud. We're very proud of who we are. We're very proud of the country we come from. And we don't necessarily want to immigrate. We really don't. However, at some point, I think we all realize that we might have to make the decision to leave, whether it is our decision or whether we feel pushed to leave. And I think we've seen that happen with numerous countries. And what we want to talk about is, so if that moment comes and you need or you want to leave, how do you do that if you don't have options available to you? And second citizenship gives you that option. It's there if you want to use it. And I think, as mentioned, as we're seeing other countries across the world, large sections of the population being vaccinated, South Africans are starting to feel incredibly nervous as they see, oh, sorry, someone's mic is going on, feeling incredibly nervous as to what our vaccination process is really going to look like. Will we reach our targets? Will we be able to prevent a fourth wave? And as I like to put here, South Africans were quite used to marking a plan. We do. We make a plan. We're a resilient people. And I think it's important for South Africans to know that this option is available to them, that second citizenship is there as the ultimate plan B. Let's look at the benefits of second citizenship. So I think a very important one is the ease of travel, particularly for business or even lifestyle. But having that global mobility available to you is incredibly valuable. Opening doors, regardless of pandemic restrictions currently for travel, being able to be a citizen of another country overseas opens many doors to other countries that you can easily travel to. So again, it's access to other countries, and potentially those countries as well have a more stable governance, a more stable currency that's not obviously pegged to the rand. Succession planning, I think in most cases you are able to pass a second citizenship down to future generations, and that's incredibly appealing, especially if you have a family. Access to better healthcare systems. I think in South Africa, obviously public healthcare is not great. Private healthcare is fairly good, but again, it comes at a cost. And even with private healthcare, we're still not able to access vaccinations and things like that as quickly as we would like. Education opportunities as well. This is hugely important. If you have a second citizenship, you can have more easy access to other countries where they have vast number of education opportunities. Wealth diversification and offshore investment. This is key, particularly I think to most of you who I'm speaking to this evening, being able to diversify your wealth much easier and be able to invest overseas, whether it's in real estate or in other areas where you really want to be able to have some offshore investment out of South Africa. Safety for your family. I think I myself have a young family, and I think it's definitely a question. If you are going to want to leave, how can I make sure my family is safe? Where would I take them to? Do I have options available to me? Peace of mind to have that option should you wish to leave. The opportunity for a better quality of life. And I think that's become a lot more key since we've been in this COVID-19 pandemic. People have become a lot more introspective as to how they want to live their lives and what they want to surround themselves with. And so I think quality of life has become a lot more important. And then lastly, to become more competitive in business on a global scale. South African businesses are very highly regarded. We're very competitive on a global scale in business. But again, we are limited as to what doors are really open to us. The South African passport, I think, can give you visa-free access to about 103 countries, but most of those are within the African continent. So it's difficult to be as competitive as we could be if we had second citizenship. Let's look at some common ways of gaining a second citizenship. I have touched on the first one, so by birth or by ancestry. But again, often, as I think I mentioned, this can only really be passed down one stage. So if you have a parent who potentially has a UK passport, it can be passed down to you, but it waters down. You can't quite pass it down to your children or children's children. Then you could apply for a work visa to a country and then wait a set length of time to become a citizen. I think we've seen people do that with countries like Australia, for example. But again, it's an incredibly lengthy process. And often with a work visa, you need to prove that you are highly skilled in a particular area. You can marry a citizen and then wait a length of time to become a citizen yourself. But again, this is a lengthy process. Or, and this is key to what we are discussing today, you can invest in a citizenship by investment program. So what is citizenship by investment? It's a legal process that enables you as a foreigner to obtain a citizenship in return for a significant investment in a country's economy. If we look at citizenship program by investment programs around the world, the first one was started in 1984 by the Caribbean island of St. Kitts and Nevis, and it is still one of the most trusted and established programs today. And what we're really looking at with CBI is providing a mutually beneficial opportunities for countries. They're receiving non-tax derived revenue via your foreign direct investment, and in return, you are benefiting from the citizenship and also investing in the country that you will then become a citizen of. Why the Caribbean? Now, excuse me, as a company, we have seen the Caribbean become increasingly popular, particularly over the last year. And I think one of the many reasons why is the speed of application. I think it's a big draw card in comparison to some other programs across the world. Some of the fastest turnaround times of application are seen in the Caribbean. Another one is they have fared fairly well for the most part in containing the COVID-19 pandemic. Some islands have done particularly well, and they've been offering their citizens safety and security, and that's key, particularly at this time. The close proximity to the USA, that's very important, and their use of the US dollar for investment. That's very appealing. Otherwise, if they use the EC dollar, it's very important, particularly to make sure that you are making a sound and stable investment. And since the pandemic, I think on another level, I think people have become aware of how restricted they are. And the Caribbean is obviously incredibly appealing. It has, I like to say it has all the beautiful benefits of South Africa, but without the crime and without the concerns that we have. It has a wonderful climate. It has friendly people. It has an amazing quality of life. So I don't think it's any surprise why we're seeing such a lot of interest from South African citizens. I'd now like to have a look at two of the most established programs, just to give you a bit more of an idea of them. And we're going to look at Dominica and St. Kitts and Nevis. So to look at them together, to obtain a second citizenship of Dominica or St. Kitts and Nevis, what are you benefiting from? You're benefiting from an extended global reach. You're safeguarding against economic and political volatility in your own country. You're opening up business-friendly environments. These countries really have strong incentives for investors and a lot of opportunity for investors. It's a chance for you to diversify your assets, and it really is the ultimate hedge against uncertainty and risk. I think it's also important to note that when you do apply for these citizenship by investment programs for these two countries, you do not need to demonstrate a minimum level of business experience or a proven track record of achievement. As I mentioned earlier, when you're doing work visas to different countries, often you have to jump through many hoops to show that you are highly skilled in a certain area. That is not the case with these CBI investments. You do not have to undergo mandatory interviews or cultural and history tests or language tests, and you don't even need to travel to, reside, or live in the country unless you wish to do so. Taking a deeper look at St. Kitts and Nevis, as mentioned, it's one of the first programs that was established in 1984. Their CBI program is the oldest and most trusted, and within the industry, it really has a platinum standard. It's very highly regarded. Their citizenship provides you with visa-free or visa on arrival access to around 155 countries and territories worldwide. It is also the only CBI program to give you a fast-track route option, should you wish. And successful applicants can receive citizenship in as little as 60 days from application submission, which is incredibly fast. Investors can also contribute to the Sustainable Growth Fund. That's one of the options that you can invest in, and it has a very much a positive impact on the nation. You can really see where your money is going. It impacts the economy and the people who live there. And as said, it's become an increasingly popular choice for Africans and South Africans, particularly because of the local currency being pegged to the stable US dollar, the high quality healthcare you can receive, and the doors that it opens for education opportunities. It has close ties to major business hubs like the United States and the United Kingdom. Looking at Dominica, also a very established CBI program there, established in 1993. It has been ranked for 4 consecutive years as the top CBI program in the world by the CBI Index, which is a publication by the Financial Times Professional Wealth Management magazine. The citizenship provides you with visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to around 140 countries and territories worldwide. And it really is known as the hidden gem of the Caribbean. It is beautiful. A lot of people refer to it as the Garden of Eden. It is a very naturally beautiful and well looked after nation. It has numerous 5-star eco resorts and hotels that you can invest in if you choose the real estate option. And you'll also have the option to make a one-time straightforward contribution to the Economic Diversification Fund. It's very committed to sustainability. They have a ban on plastic, and they are committed to becoming completely climate resilient. They also have a very strong focus on well-being and really do take care of their citizens. Close ties to major business hubs like the United States and the United Kingdom, and they also have a fast application process, which in principle is around 90 days from application. Let's look at the different routes for investment. So for Dominica's Economic Diversification Fund, if you decide to go that route, for a single applicant, you're looking at about $100,000, which is plus minus 1.4 million rand. For a family, you're looking at $175,000, which is plus minus 2.4 million rand. And we're talking of a family of 4. For St. Kitts and Nevis, for their Sustainable Growth Fund, as a single applicant, you're looking at $150,000 US, which is 2.1 million rand. And currently they are offering a limited time offer, which is set to expire on the 31st of December 2021, where as a family of 4, you can also apply for 150,000, which is plus minus 2.1 million rand. So it's the same. So we found that has become an increasingly popular option for those investing in St. Kitts and Nevis. It's also important to note that on top of these fees, there is a due diligence fee that is attached to this. There are fees involved, often probably looking at about a further 107 at maximum, or so it fluctuates, but about $107,000 rand on top of it for due diligence fees. I think it's also important to note the due diligence process, which is incredibly multi-tiered and layered for each of these countries, and looks at ensuring that every citizen that is accepted as a citizen into one of these countries has been vetted and checked. Then I just wanted to look at some recent trends that we've seen as a company. As I said, we've seen growing interest in the South African market and the African market as a whole, and in particular from certain areas. So entrepreneurs who want to expand their business reach. Again, this is opening doors for them. Interestingly, particularly from the IT and cryptocurrency, people who are in that business, they want to further their options in the tech space. They want to have more global mobility in order to access that. Then high net worth individuals, they want to diversify, they want to secure their wealth. Young families who want to give their children a safer future. And then an older generation, potentially those who are looking to retire to a different place, or who just want to give their family the gift of second citizenship that they can pass down to their children and to their grandchildren. And then almost in closing, I just think we can't really be doing these presentations without looking at how the pandemic has affected us all as businesses and what we've learned as a result of the pandemic. And I think as a company, we've seen that, you know, at a time when all citizens have felt so restricted, we've never been so desperate for accessibility. And the importance of becoming a global citizen has never been so highlighted. I think as a country, as South Africa, we're competing very strongly on a global scale in business. And I think we want to expand that. We want to be able to harness the opportunities that are available to us. I think we are also becoming much more focused as a globe on sustainability, on well-being, and on our quality of life, which is really a strong draw card for why the Caribbean is becoming so popular. And access to healthcare and vaccinations, it's vital. Smooth rollout plans from government, it's essential. It goes without saying that I think going forward in the future, this will be a key component to places where we reside. So just to look at who we are CS Global Partners. We are a legal and marketing consultancy firm, and we promote citizenship by investment programs. And we really focus on programs that bring win-win situations to both governments and our clients alike. We're trusted advisors, we cultivate durable relationships with our clients, and we really work very closely with you to ascertain what your individual needs are. We look at sort of evolving global situations, and we really work very, very closely to ensure that our clients are investing in the right opportunities. So yes, thank you all very much for listening to me this evening. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Our contact details on the slide here. Please take note of them. Please feel free to get in touch with us. We would love to connect with you. We would love to answer any of your questions. I can see some questions came through while I was presenting, which I will answer shortly. But thank you very much. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.